Hi there, it's Emma from Emma's Cards and Paper Crafts. Today I thought we'd have a little play with the Thankful Garden stamps and the masks. I've not used masks before, but I've been told it's quite easy. So we're going to have a go. So I'm not sure if you can just about see here, they've got numbers in each of the corners in the order that you use them. So we're going to start off with number 1. And just for ease of things, I'm going to put it right up to the edge of my cardstock. I'm using Very Vanilla today because I didn't want the ink to be too bright. And then I'm going to get a couple of bits of washi tape just to hold it down. And we're always going to match up this V in this corner here. So I'm actually going to take a pen or a pencil, or pen here, a very bright pink one. We're just going to draw that V in, so that we can make sure we're always lined up to that V. And that means our images should, I say should, come out how they're supposed to. So I wasn't sure on what colours to use today, so I thought I'd pick out one of my favourites and one of my least favourites, and I thought we'd see where we go with these. I was thinking blue because of the, I want to say they're hydrangeas. I'm going to say they're hydrangeas anyway, and I want them to look like hydrangeas, and I love blue hydrangeas. So we're going to use Balmy Blue, and the way we're going to do it is we're just going to keep layering up the colours to make each layer darker, if that makes sense. I've got a little bit of scrap over to the side that I'm going to just dust my brush off to start with on. So I don't have that many blending brushes, but I've got one that's green and one that's been used for pink and purple and blue. I think that one's been used for blue in the past. So I'm going to use these two. They've probably got loads of ink on them still from before, or they might have been washed. That one's relatively clean. That one's relatively clean as well. So I think they have been washed. So hopefully we won't get too much colour transfer from other colours. So we're going to start off with the blue. I'm going to load up my brush a little bit, not too much, and I'm just going to give it a gentle little brush there on my scrap first. And we're going to start off the edge and go around the edge to begin with. Just keep going in circles like so. I think we need a little bit more blue, so I'm going to go a touch more. So that's our first layer. And now we're going to carefully peel that off. And peel that one off. And even though it didn't look that blue just a minute ago, it is rather blue. So that's number 1. Pop that one to one side, and now we're going to get number 2, and we're going to line this up with that V again, and also just double check that it's lined up with what you've already coloured, like so. So there's 3 layers to the flower one, so I'm going to put a little bit more blue on this time. And then we're just going to really go for it. So this is still the exact same ink. This is still Balmy Blue. And you'll see how you can get different shades just by applying more ink. So there we go. That's our second layer done. We'll carefully peel this one off now. Fingers crossed. There we go, we've got our lighter and then we've got our darker. And then we're going to go for our third one now. So this is the last one of the sort of floral part. So this is really just going to be like highlights. So this time we're going to want it even more blue. So I'm going to put quite a lot on my brush now. And I'm not really going to dab it off. I'm just going to start off at the side. I'm even going to put more on my brush. So this comes through really blue. because I've got my windows open, an annoying fly has just flown in my bedroom. So that's going to really annoy me now. So there we go. You can see each of the 3 layers of our blue there. I think we must have got a little bit of the green come out of the brush there because it's slightly gone greener as we've carried on, but that doesn't bother me in the slightest. Now we're going to be going on to the leaf part. So I'm just going to make sure this is lined up with this flower here and also with my V there, so it's nice and straight. I'm going to carefully stick my bits of tape down again. I put my balmy blue away and we're going to get Old Olive out. I know what I did wrong. I started off with this brush, which was the blue one, and then I picked up my green one. So I'm just going to pause you a second. I'm going to go and give this one a little bit of a rinse off with just some water and then give it a hair dry. Or shall I? Shall I not? Nah, let's just roll with it. So that's why it went greener as we went on, because yes, I picked up the green ink. So I don't want this too green to start with. So I'm just going to dab a bit off there. There we go. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to the middle here, just to give it a little bit more depth. There we go. So that's our first layer for our leaves. So there's only 2 layers to the leaf bit. So actually I kind of like that And that's where the highlights would go. Well, I say highlights, they'd be low lights because they'd be darker, wouldn't they? And I don't think I did it quite straight the first time because that's not quite lining up. There we go, we're just gonna go with the flow. And then we're just going to pick up a little bit more green. And really green it up there. And that looks green enough for me. So I'm going to carefully take my handy dandy bits of tape off. I keep these attached to my camera lamp light holder. There we go. For when I need them, so they're handy. So that's that. But and there's that fly again. We also have the coordinating stamp here, and we have the dies, which we're going to be using both. So this is the stamp. Oh, nice and brand new. So I've not used it yet. It's quite a big one, and that should perfectly outline our thing. If I'd have thought about it, I should have stamped it first and then lined my things up to it, shouldn't I? Or I know it's not current, but this is going to help me get it perfectly. I'm going to get my stamp practice out. So if you're lucky, you might find one of these unicorns on eBay. If you're not so lucky, then I'm afraid you won't find one on eBay. So I'm going to lay this on exactly where it should be, which is not there. And it's going to be slightly out, isn't it? Because I got my leaves slightly out. If I match up my leaves, my stem, that's fine. I'm going to put that over and pick that up like that, and then it'll be perfectly in the right place. I'm going to put some magnets on, a magnet on, just to hold my cardstock so it definitely doesn't move, because I'll be frustrated if I don't get this like perfectly lined up now. So I'm going to ink up my stamp. The good thing about this is if you don't quite get it inked up perfect first time, you can stamp over it again. So if it doesn't quite give you the crisp line you want, then you can go again. So it's a tiny bit out, but I'm happy with that. That's not bad. We're going to go with it. And then we're going to, I'm going to put that off to one side so I can clean that in a minute. Put this back in my drawer here. There we go. And now we're going to get our dye out. And that cuts perfectly like that, but first I'm going to cut this out because that big sheet of cardstock will not fit through my cutout. Right, I need to find it. Living in chaos here. Really need to sort out my bedroom. Everything seems to be just getting shoved in the same corner, which conveniently happens to be on my desk. So I'm going to cut that along there, put my clean bit over to one side so it doesn't get any of the ink on from the pile of things earlier, and then I'm going to die cut this out. So good to me. Oh, and I've just got to move it like so, and like so, and I'll be back with you in 1 minute. There we go, that's all die cut. Take this out, and there you go. It gives you a little bit of an edge around it, but not too much, but just enough. In future I think I will stamp it first and then colour, just because my brain does not like it the other way around as much, I don't think, maybe. So, oh, and now my bits of tape are falling off. There we go. So I'm going to put the die back in the box. Which way around did it go? I like that, didn't it? There we go. So die back in the box. There we go. And now let's find some cardstock and make a card base for this. What shall I use? I've got my cardstock is all in this great big folder. So I'm just going to flick through and find some appropriately coloured cardstock. And luckily Balmy Blue is right at the front. So, but it's not quite Balmy Blue because we had a bit of green in it, is it? So, oh, and I've just not quite put that in the black ink. I need to learn to put my ink away immediately, don't I? Ink away. And brushes out the way so we don't get ink on anything. About pool party. Is pool party more along the lines of what we need? Yeah, I'm thinking pool party looks better. And then yeah, pool party. I have an idea in my head of what I want to do, which involves, we're going to use this as our card base, but then we're going to do some layering today. So let's cut this. So for a card base, we usually cut this straight in half on the long side, and you want it about 14.7 or 8, somewhere in the middle there. Centimetres that is, down there. So I'll pop that bit to one side for later because we'll be using that bit as well. And I'm going to put my cutter out the way because I don't want to cut this now. And then you want to score in half at 10.5. So there's our card base. And now our layering. How big is this one? No, that one's too small. So we're going to get a bit of our Very Vanilla again. And we're going to go for 0.5 centimetre smaller. So let's go at 10 centimetres first, so we don't use as much as this piece of card. So yeah, half a centimetre smaller. And then we're going to go at 14.25-ish. Keep that bit handy because we might put a sentiment on that. I haven't quite decided, haven't really planned any of this. This is kind of just a wing it as we go day. There's that, and then, hang on, there's more. We need one more layer. In fact, what dies have I got? Because I've got lots of new dies recently. I've got the Perennial Postage ones. Those are really shapes, are they? I think most of my good shape ones retired. I'll try and get to my dies because I don't really want to do another plain square, but I feel like the Perennial Postage one's going to be the wrong size. But we could do some careful crafting with those. If we cut our cardstock piece, so it's going to be, I'm going to go half a centimetre smaller again. So we're going to go 9.5. If I do a smidge over the 9.5, and that will give us room for die cutting around it. And then it was 14.25 before, so we know 13.75 now. And now let's see if any of our Perennial Postage ones coordinate with this size. This one's our best bet. No, that one's too short. But no, we're going to do it because I have an idea now. So we're going to die cut this one like that. So if we balance that back up there. Right, I'm going to quickly die cut this one and then I'll be right back with you again. There we go, we're die cut again. So instead of it being perfectly straight like the other layer will be, we're going to put this one at an angle like so, with our flower in the middle like this, and I thought that would look quite good. Let's put that die away because otherwise I might die when I lose one and I'll be rather upset with myself. I'm always finding stray dies and stamps that I haven't put away, so work as we mean to go on. So I don't need that bit anymore, so I'm going to keep that to one side. And I have one other idea. I got one other stamp set out. The elements of text. I quite like the splotches and splatters and the writing. And it goes quite well with Perennial Postage. So this one is from the January to April 2025 catalogue, but I believe it has carried over, otherwise it wouldn't be on my shelf unless I've made a very bad mistake. I'm pretty sure it has carried over, and we are going to get Pool Party, and we're going to stamp tone on tone just so that it's not too bright in the background. And we need a block. So these are red rubber stamps, and I haven't used these yet either. I'm just going to use the small one, I think, and we'll just stamp it a couple of times because it's going to be hidden behind our flower mostly. And then I'm going to get this splotchy one as well. So sometimes I double mount my blocks just because I have favourite stamp blocks. So let's have a look at our writing. Has our writing got a way up? Yes, it goes up that way. So I'm going to do a bit off the side, bit there, bit there, and then we're going to go some splooches just all over, so that no matter where our flower ends up, you'll see everything. So that'll go like that, that'll go like that. There we go, that looks good. I'm happy with that. Hopefully Jazz will be proud of my script and my splooches. It's very, well, apart from it being in colours and not more of the vintage style that Jazz likes. Hopefully she'll be proud of me though. I do miss Jazz being my team leader, but I do have the lovely Heather now. So I lost one Gideon to have another Gideon, so best of both worlds really. So let's start sticking this all down. There you go. I might put the flower up on dimensionals, but my layers I'm just going to use stamp and seal. Okay. So that's just about straight. There we go. And then we're going to take our postage bit. We're going to stick that one down too. And now, because I'm picky, I'm going to make sure I've got it up the right way. Oh, and look, conveniently, I'm pretty sure it's a spring in there. Spring. I don't know what the rest of it says, but something about the darkened breeze. Yeah, I'm not sure what it says, but it says spring, so it goes with my flowers. Like that. And now let's get some dimensionals for this bit, which I'm using up some odds and ends here. So we're going to chop up these into bite-sized pieces, like so. And stick them all around. Might chop a couple more. There we go. Just so that it's nice and supported. Like so. There's our flowers in the middle, I'm liking that. And then, I'm going to use this bit for my sentiment. I think we're just going to go with love. It's nice and little and cute and easy. There's that one there. Gonna have lots to clean up after this one. Decided to go on a right little rabbit hole here. Originally I was just going to play with the what they're called, stencily things, masks, but I quite like how it's the direction it's been going in, so let's just keep going. So I'm going to use, what's it called, Pool Party again. Don't know what I'm going to cut it out with yet though. I'm going to do it somewhere near the middle, like so, and then we can use a, that didn't stamp very well. It's gone a bit funny there. So there are two sides to every piece of paper, so we're going to turn it over and we're going to give it a go again. Second time lucky. Much better. See, first one was just a practice run. There we go. Now let's find my dies. I'm going to use this banner one here, I think. So these are the stylish shapes. These ones have been around for quite a while now, and they've always been one of my favourites. So I'm going to quickly die cut this one out, and I'll be back with you in a second. There we go, there's that one cut out now. So carefully pop that out. I'm going to pop this down in this corner here. So we're going to need some dimensionals for this as well, which I have gone and put somewhere. Where did I put them? There we go. I pulled the backing off with it of the paper. And there we go. And then a little bit in the middle. And that can go there just like so. And now we're going to get some shinies out, because my last few videos we haven't had any shinies, and I've got quite a few new ones. So let's see what we've got. Those are Starburst sequins, Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink and Gold. I've got the In Colour gems. Cloud Colour's a little bit too grey for those, I think. Got our gold ones. I might just default to my gold ones because I like my gold ones, and my other new ones don't really go. And the gold ones are actually virtually the exact same here and here. I'm pretty sure they are exactly the same. So those ones are the Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink. So Strawberry Slush, Pretty in Pink, and then you've got the clear with gold. But I'm just going to use these ones. These go with the On The Go suite. I haven't done that yet, but I just love these, and I thought I'd use those to make a scrapbooking page at some point. So watch out for that one. So we're just going to go with some little ones today. Let's upside down. I'm going to put one there and one there, just like so. That one doesn't seem to look straight to me. There we go. I feel like I might put some less glittery ones in my flowers. Not in all my flowers, but just a couple, maybe 3. There we go. All sparkly and pretty. So I'm going to intentionally leave the inside of my card blank for now, because with love is quite a broad spectrum of cards that you could use for occasions. So I will stamp a sentiment inside when I decide to give this card to somebody. So that is what we made today. I hope you've enjoyed watching my video today, and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.